Hey, welcome back into today's video. This is an important video. There is a ongoing scam right now perpetuated by TikTokers who have fed followers into an account called More Than Elizabeth. This woman has scammed multiple people over the last several years, faking serious illnesses, committing grand theft, and several other serious issues. Even lying about being gravely ill to her children, currently grifting for money on TikTok, and taking donations for an unregistered nonprofit for domestic violence situations. And yes, people are being scammed. This is not good. We got to do something about this in today's video of exploring TikTokers. I'm never surprised. This video is going to be pretty crazy. When I went to research it, it turns out that there was a massive amount of misinformation, and individuals were taking things as solid truth when there was no empirical evidence to suggest that that was the case. And I'm not just talking about viewers. Viewers I could probably understand. These were very large creators on TikTok, millions of followers. Now, as you know, I already don't put TikTok creators very high on the echelon of the greatest creators on the internet, but it goes into a different realm when they put innocent people in danger of being scammed of their hard-earned money. This is something that you need to know. It's important for me to say that the people we're talking about in today's video aren't the greatest of parents, as you'll see. We're going to break things down like we always do. We're going to show solid evidence, and we're going to make an emphasis on the importance of research in this video. Now, it's been a while since I've uploaded, so if you guys could engage with the video, comment, like, put some positivity turtles down in the chat, it'll help the video be promoted out in the algorithm. The TikTok we're talking about is More Than Elizabeth, created by a woman named Elizabeth with over 310,000 followers and 10 million likes. She also has an Instagram and a very small YouTube channel. The content that she posts on this channel is pretty normal, and it appeals to the struggles that single mothers tend to go through. The content's pretty balanced with no focus on her children at all, but she is driving with a suspended license, which isn't a very big deal compared to the things that we're about to talk about. The whole situation started with this video right here, and it currently has over 70 million views. That's a lot of views. Caption says, being a single mom is making your own birthday cake on your birthday so that your babies can feel happy they are singing to you. Now, a lot of people did criticize this because this is a curated video of somebody crying. You can see there's cuts in it. They're staging it, placing and replacing props, so this comes off a little bit disingenuous to some people. This isn't content that I would make. I see a lot of people make this type of content, and I look at it as no different than acting pretty much, and they're catering and curating these videos towards their niches on their channels. It does come off a little bit weird. Now, if people are taking these types of situations and trying to plug them down as if they're not curated, and when they clearly are. Her being a single mom making content towards single mothers and the struggles they go through does seem like it's pretty on par. One user saying, being a single mom is one of the hardest things I've ever done. At times, it can be so lonely and overwhelming. Another comment saying, I came here directly after watching The Father's Stitch. I have so many questions. And this is when it starts to get a little bit complex, because the ex-husband of this woman made a video in response to this saying, the description says, More Than Elizabeth is a fraud and a con artist. From fake charities to faking cancer to leaving her kids. That's quite a bit. Let's see what he says.
I sent this video a lot over the last few days. People asking my thoughts and my comments on it. And before anyone says, oh, you don't know her situation, or, you don't know what she's going through, well, I do, because I lived it. I'm her ex-husband, and right now I have full custody of our kids. This is our parent agreement. As you can see, I have all weekdays and weekends, time sharing with the kids, all at holiday academic breaks. And for her to get any rights back to the kids, these are the things that she needs to do. And yes, child support, she owes that. It's up to over $21,000. So she's a mother and doesn't pay child support. She was then arrested for check fraud, and during that hearing, it turned out that it was found that she stole almost $1 million from another guy. And also she fake cancer in the past. These are scans that she would send and post on her page before. So, to sum it up, this person, for people that follow her or giving her praise and telling her how strong and how, amazing she's doing, well, she's really not a full-time mom. She barely has her kids. She goes out all the time, and she doesn't even have a job even. So she just really not someone that other single moms should really be looking towards as for inspiration or anything like that. There are a lot of hardworking single moms out there, and a lot of respect to them. All I just want to say is she just isn't one of them. So hopefully everyone can see this video and know who she really is.
One comment saying, the way my tears sucked back into my eyes. And another one saying, you're crazy, Team Elizabeth. It's also important to talk about because these larger TikTok creators on the platform kind of made it into a competition with teams, which is pretty crazy. But this is very concerning because you almost never hear about a father being awarded primary custody unless there's a very serious reason. In fact, in the US, mothers are awarded primary custody about 70 to 80% of cases. Factors that influence this are that mothers may be deemed unfit due to issues like ABUSC, neglect, and other serious concerns, and the father demonstrating a better ability to meet the child's emotional, physical, and educational needs. Now, there are other factors in this video that we're going to consider, but the things that I discover, they're going to leave you speechless. Here's her response to her ex-husband.
Hi. I want to first start this video by saying this is not to bring a single bit of hate to Andrew, and I will never do that. I haven't done that on my page before, and I won't do it now, no matter who he is, which has always been the case because I will never bring the parent of my children down. Because that's not okay for them. Putting the things on the internet for my kids to one day see because of who he is, I will never do it for them because it's not the right thing to do. And Andrew has created websites, TikToks.
This is kind of our first introduction to her as she's responding to her ex-husband, which she has every right to do, but there's a little bit of hypocrisy saying that she would never put out these things for her children to see in the future or never put down her ex-husband, but then goes on to do just that. Now, she has the right to respond and defend herself, absolutely, but saying something like you don't do that and you're not going to do that and then going on to do that doesn't make much sense.
Andrew has created websites, TikToks, essentially everything since I left him. I think that is probably the science aspect of his life. If you go on the website, there's actually Scientologist links that he's added there. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but getting out of a Scientologist mindset in a relationship is not a good thing and not an easy thing. Andrew is extremely abusive and has always been extremely abusive. Laying low or staying under is essentially what I have felt a lot of years was the right thing for me to do. He told me the morning that he posted the video, if I deleted my social media, he would not do what he's doing. Would not destroy my life. He says that he will not take them down unless I'm off social media. So yesterday, I deleted social media to try to limit access to problems.
This is a logical fallacy called performative contradiction. It's like saying I'm not talking while simultaneously talking, but we have equivocation from the father as well, or half-truths, because he said that she doesn't see any of her kids at all, when in fact she has kids from another man, but he didn't say that. So both of these individuals have started off by misleading you, and that's not a good way to go about it.
First, I'll start by the custody, okay, because that's what we're all talking about. I see my children. I see all my children. I don't not see my children.
In my research, I did see that this guy's got some issues, and while it can be true that he's hurting her, it can also be true that she's misleading and hurting other people as well, and as you'll see.
I'm the one who hosts their birthday parties. I'm the one who puts them to bed. I'm the one who does everything until he pulls them away, and the reason by that is the agreement that you guys have seen online is when I first left him out of I had no resources, no money, nothing. He was a doctor. And he said, if you sign these papers, nothing will change on when you see them. and I will not ruin your life. I will leave you alone. And so I did. In a mentally bad state of abuse and wanting it to stop. He was never hurting them. I stand by that. Mentally, he's not doing great things to them in terms of the stuff he says, but he will never hurt them. He has never hurt them. He will never hurt them. So I never, and I was still seeing them always, even now.
There's definitely some conflicting evidence about her spending time with her children while she had them. Some of the situations, well, they just do not add up.
I also want to point out, you may think I'm whatever you're saying about me on the internet, but there are other women that have filed restraining orders against him. And if anyone took the time to go look him up as well, that's what you would see. Instead, you see everything you've looked me up, which is essentially coming from one man who is out to destroy my life. That is in the nature of being a silent. That is what they do. And if you know anything about them, you would know that. I'm not a perfect person, not even a little. I would never say that. I'm not a perfect mom. I hope no one would say they're a perfect mom. When I got divorced, definitely when I left my husband, I was out drinking, or I was going through it. I mean, I felt like I was literally trapped in a marriage for 6 years.
In my research, I did find that another woman filed a restraining order on Andrew. This was a DV injunction without kids that was filed 5/14/2014. It doesn't really give us any information here, but it does say that it was dismissed. We also have 3 separate DV injunctions with children filed by Elizabeth, and all of these were dismissed as well.
I have tried for 3 years to not expose him on the internet, to not talk about who he is, because as a mother, that is the right thing to do. My family, my friends, anyone in my life has said, Elizabeth, you have to come forward with what is happening, because he can't keep doing this to you. And I have always said, I don't care what he does to me. What I care about is my children. Since I have been 16 years old and I became a mother, I have devoted my life and my time to being a mom. Does that mean that I haven't went out with my friends or done stupid things? Yes. But there has never been a time my children have been unsafe in my care. I have never hurt my children. I have never put my children in any situation of danger.
Being pregnant at 16 years old is way too heavy of a load for a child of that age to even process. So I don't doubt at all that she's been through some really difficult times.
While leaving my ex-husband, a year before that, I went into what is medically called psychosis from extreme trauma. And he has essentially every single person in my life turned them against me. Every relationship that I haven't remotely tried to be in, every friendship that I've tried to have, he contacts everyone. He's had this page up for 3 years because I was on social media a couple of years ago just posting for fun.
Now, I do got to pause right here because a couple of years ago, where she was posting for fun, she was actually faking cancer and scamming innocent people out of their money. You can kind of see why I'm making the video this way. You have a little bit of truth, a little bit of lies, but make no mistake, this is a strategic misrepresentation indicative of a consistent pattern of behavior.
I have a million texts where I've went to post my girls in my videos that are like my daily videos, and he says, delete them now. Delete the girls off your page right now. So I do, because unless you've been in the situation of someone with abuse, mental, physical, it does not matter. You don't even understand what comes along with that. And sometimes being quiet is the best thing to do. Again, I will not get on the internet and air my business or trash him, because one day I never want my children to see this.
And again, this is the nuance. I don't doubt that he's doing these things to her. And the narratives between both of these individuals are so screwed up I don't know if what they're saying is true, and neither does anyone else.
I have a cease and desist. I'll post that.
So it's demand for immediate removal of defamatory material. So this is specifically about the website Elizabeth Teckenbrock Info. It says, coming from her, I verbally warned you via telephone September 25th, 2023, that the documents regarding the divorce are not available online via public records. You continued to bring up irrelevant statements regarding Ms. Teckenbrock's past and asserted that all the documents were easily accessible to the public. The most recent post on the website is a mirror image of your assertions during that telephone call. There's no evidence that he created this website. I think that he took part in it. It says, I further demand that you cease and desist publicly making publicly false, defamatory, and or misleading statements about Ms. Teckenbrock. Additionally, you are commanded to cease sending personal photos of my clients, text messages, basically just anything that he's posted online that he's got to take it down. But again, this is just a cease and desist. You can actually contact your lawyer and get them to write a cease and desist for just about anything. These types of documents are not legally binding, nor are they any type of evidence that the things that are being said are actually verifiably true. So she can say your postings on this website and direct messages to others in which you promote the website have no legitimate purpose, but that doesn't mean that he actually created the website. I actually have reason to believe that he's not the creator. I think that the creator reached out to him. I don't think he made this, and we'll talk about that later on in the video. Now, Andrew made a response to this, but before we talk about that, I want to go over her details about Andrew's behavior, and there's a lot. So here's some text messages she posted from her ex-husband saying, so glad you left me. I forgot how painful you make everything, and so glad I don't have any legal ties to you. Also calling her an escort. Then saying, how many guys do you have to go through? Jesus, Liz. Whoa. Talking about how Karma's going to slap her so hard and he can't wait to watch. She also posts how many times this guy's called her. And I'm not joking when I say I counted myself just from these, and it's literally 100, maybe more. Pair that with the fact that the guy's been going after her for the past 3 years, and that's a pretty persistent thing to be doing. The ex-husband's TikTok is Inventing Elizabeth, with only 26,000 followers, 398,000 likes, saying this page is strictly to warn others. Currently, there's only a handful of posts, but in the past, he had a lot more videos, as you can see here. There's also a website that Elizabeth alleges is her ex-husband's doing, but this website goes into her past and all her previous scams. The website has all of her court documents on it, evidence of fraud, and an investigative timeline. It even talks about the current scams. There's even someone's 70-year-old father who was said to be scammed over $1 million. The ex-husband's comments and calls, as well as the TikTok account that he had created over the past couple years, is enough for me to believe that it's very obsessive and creepy. However, he too posts alleged calls from her as well. As you can see, that's also quite a bit of calls. So just to keep you up to date, they're both alleged to be calling each other an obsessive and crazy amount of times. That's a lot of time to be focusing on part of your day. They're also posting a lot about each other, posting things that their children are definitely going to see in the future, things that are going to be embarrassing. Neither one of these individuals are parents of the year, but look at his posts. He takes time to post these things, and he's posting his children in these pictures, by the way. And that alone is dangerous. Also keep in mind that he's posting court documents that have the addresses in there. He's putting all this information out there that's honestly putting his children in a really dangerous situation. So here he is. He's running around in the backyard taunting Elizabeth here, effectively weaponizing his children emotionally, acting like he's out, they're all having a good time, and she's not. And then he says, I'd trust Casey Anthony before I would ever trust you again. That is an absolutely disgusting reference, and if you don't know who Casey Anthony is, this is Casey Anthony. Elizabeth did post more text messages between her and her ex-husband, and I'm going to read a couple of those, and I want to know your guys' opinion in the comment section below. Here he is saying, why is it that you're so hot and apparently thriving? I didn't see all your posts. I was driving, but I guess you made a clear picture. I'm some fat loser. Ugh, that's insecurity. She doesn't respond to him calling himself a fat loser at all, and then he has to say, I'm asking, why are you out of my league? And again, he just can't let it go. He's posting pictures of when they were together saying, the theme seems to be you were too hot for me. And then he says, I will show how you lost my house, my equipment. She says Team Kid is what's really important. What the hell is wrong with you? He says Team Liz is messing around and going to find out. I'm sure most of us in our life have seen this type of bizarre, toxic insecurity like this, but even worse is this voicemail that he leaves.
I'm going to play a little bit of a voicemail that was left to me by Andrew and the things that he was saying to one of my daughters. It was at 11:30 at night, so I was sleeping, and I did not answer. So he left a message, and this is what it is.
Later. You want her to be here with you? Yeah. I know it. I want to tell her. I know, she could tell her. I want to tell her now. Oh, she doesn't answer her phone. She has us blocked. She has us blocked, babe. She doesn't want to hear from you and me or anyone. You tell her. I tried to tell her.
If you can imagine, as a mother, that was the hardest thing. These are things, little things that he's continued to do the whole entire time. He has tried to manipulate my children, even me, everyone around me. This is what we're dealing with and working with. I have tried to reason with him off the app and say, stop doing this. I don't want to have to be on here defending myself or going after you in any way. I don't want to do that. I'm begging you to stop. I've asked everyone to stop sending him hate. I've tried my absolute best to end this with him, and it's not happening. At this point, I'm getting a lawyer. I'm going to not make another post after this. Even if he continues to harass me on the internet, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm getting a lawyer about him doing this, and I'm also going to get a lawyer, and I'm coming back for my girls. I'm not scared of him anymore, and I'm not going to keep allowing this to happen.
That is emotional damage towards that child. That is weaponizing your own children to the end of getting back at your ex. And then if you'll do that, what she's saying about you is likely true. And to drive home the point even further,
So, because I don't have public record of what you've done, I can't share it, who you are, what you've done?
Listen. You are a known manipulator. I've seen you falsify.
Andrew, answer my question. Andrew, you're not answering my question.
You're right, exactly, because you manipulate things.
I'm not manipulating this. I'm asking you. I'm asking you, Andrew, right now. I'm asking you. Why is it that you can say, oh, I can put public information, or I can put public documents because that's what's real, but you can't talk about what's happening behind the scenes?
Because that's hearsay, Liz. I know you weren't present.
It's hearsay? Between you and I, it's hearsay? What you've done?
Yes. You don't understand, but you can manipulate and have manipulated. I mean, you even forget when you have that fake number.
So they're both manipulative. They're both hurting their children. If anything, they're emotionally damaging their children potentially.
Hello everyone, I just want to come on here real quick and clear up a few things that has been obviously a very recurring theme on the page. Number one, I'm not assigned. Don't even know how that came about, other than the website, but I didn't create the website either. So both of those things, signed, never been one. The website I did not create. So those two things, nothing to do with me. Last thing is the name, Inventing Elizabeth. It is about a show on Netflix, Inventing Anna. If you haven't seen that show, I highly recommend going to watch it before watching more of my videos or commenting on my stuff. That show is about a woman who was a con artist and a scammer. So my name is a reference to that show.
It's true that there's no evidence about any of the claims that he's a scientist or that he created the website. But again, I think there's evidence of it being someone else. So as you go through everything in this website, what you'll come to find is that it talks about Andrew openly. But then it references somebody. Somebody's referred to as Mr. ABC, and he's 75 years old. So when Elizabeth was arrested for grand theft, she was bailed out. Apparently, the person that bailed her out was a 75-year-old man, and the son was not happy about this. He emailed the court saying, "Good afternoon. Recently, it has been made aware to me that my elderly father has been a victim of fraud. This fraud constitutes the theft of nearly $1 million. We have opened official complaints with the TPD and the FBI and cut off all financial resources to Elizabeth Teckenbrock. Ms. Teckenbrock was in custody for the case number referenced in the email subject line, and bail was posted by my father. I'm currently in possession of bank records showing that she had purchased plane tickets and a hotel room in Charleston, South Carolina for Friday, September 22nd with a stolen credit card. I'm not sure of the conditions of her bail, but I wanted you to be aware that if she was not supposed to leave the state, she certainly did. And she was not supposed to leave the state. According to this pretrial intervention contract, number 6 says you will not change your residence or leave the county or state of your residence without first procuring the consent of your supervising officer. Meaning that she might have left if she got permission, but she's also driving with no license currently either. So it says appears to be the son of Mr. ABC, so son is writing to the judge. So the only person in this entire website that's kept anonymous is the father of the son. My money is that the son created this to warn other people. Reached out to the ex-husband to verify a couple things. This is what let me know what you think in the comment section below. Andrew says he's not a scientist, but Elizabeth thought so because there's a link on this website that slightly references that faith.
I'm showing you on the website he created about me the science links because he's now claiming he's not a scientist. The handbook is linked on the page.
So on the first page, it's this third-party law thing, and apparently this is what she's talking about. But that in itself, there's no empirical evidence that suggests or ties back to Andrew at all. Elizabeth also alleges...
My face at the top so I can block out the girl's personal information, but this is another girl that put a restraining order against him, I think a couple of years before we got married, for chasing her around the table with a knife. It did end up getting, after they went to court, it ended up getting declined because she did not have a lawyer, and he did, and he ended up winning, which is typically how he wins everything. Is the girls that he gets are young girls, he's older, gets young girls, and then he has way more money and is able to end up destroying them in court. I am not going to say anything else about it anymore. I'm going to get off the phone. And
so again, we can't view any of the documents. We can't say for certain that there was any type of weapon involved in this situation, but I also didn't hear Andrew deny this.
I signed papers in court, not even to court. We never even made it to the court process because I signed the papers outside of court to get him to stop doing this because he swore he would. He would stop all of this hate and all of this, everything that's going on if I signed the papers. And now I have a mess on social media when all of my page has just been happiness, being inside my house with my kids, cooking and baking. And his whole entire page for years has been dedicated to destroying my life. And I don't know how anyone with a normal brain does not see that that is a problem.
It just doesn't sound right. A mother willingly signing over the rights of her children to the father. And as I said earlier, men usually do not receive full custody unless there is something majorly wrong with the mother.
That even if all of the stuff he says is true, and everyone is asking if those allegations that he's making are true, no, they're not true. He's got people on his side that can go over and make videos because he's loving every minute of it.
Notice that she said that all of the allegations were not true. Now, we're going to see about that because I've looked into it pretty extensively, and I am not associated with Andrew. I don't like that guy, and I'm not making a video on his behalf.
I am getting hundreds of messages on Instagram, on my email addresses, people saying they know my home address where I live. I haven't even stayed at my own house in 3 days because I'm literally terrified to be there. No one normal, him, would do this to someone that never was even sharing about them on the internet. Post court documents where they can find people's address, where they live, where their children are, if that's normal. How are you not thinking that this person is crazy? For 3 years, he's had a TikTok about me. How is that not obsessed? For 3 years. Why is he asking me to go spend birthdays with him if I'm this terrible and he hates me more than anything in the world? Begging me. I'm done talking about this.
Now, I agree with her. It's been demonstrated already in this video that Andrew is not a good guy. I don't think anybody can deny that. However, her Inthi meme that why would he contact her to hang out is dumb, since we already know that he has full custody. It also says that she can only see the kids if he says that she can. Only the father may select appropriate child care providers for this children. It also says the mother acknowledges and agrees to. This is not something that was just signed out of court. This is a process. This was something that was decided in court. Elizabeth posted on her TikTok June 2nd saying, "I would like to express my gratitude to everyone for their unwavering support during this difficult time. I want to inform you that I have spent the morning with the police department, and as a result, I will no longer be discussing my ex-husband or my children on the internet. This has become a very serious legal matter, and I kindly ask for your understanding and respect for the privacy of my family. I take this situation very seriously as it involves the well-being of my loved ones. This is not a mere spectacle or entertainment, but a real-life issue that requires utmost sensitivity. Moving forward, I will continue with my regular content, but will refrain from addressing the online scandal that has been circulating. Thank you for your understanding and continued support during this challenging time. But she definitely is still talking about it, because during my research, I hopped into one of her live streams on TikTok, and she was talking about it. The ex-husband has also deleted every bit of content and said, "It's clear that others do not want to listen to the truth or the facts or logic to form their opinions. My ex-wife has irreparably damaged many people's lives, including mine, well before going viral. I have tried to use the justice system in the past to put a stop to her destructive behavior, but as many people in domestic fraud situations have probably experienced, you will be laughed out of the courtroom. This led me to social media, which I attempted to use as a tool to hopefully prevent the next person from getting deceived and ultimately defrauded by my ex-wife. Taking into account the inflammatory and defaming nature of her latest untruths about me, for the safety of myself and our children, I will not be engaging with my ex-wife online any longer. One day I will tell my story, but today is not that day. I ask that you please respect my privacy. And remember that, as the sole financial provider and safekeeper of my ex-wife's children, any actions taken against me directly impact their well-being. Although the support I've received has been encouraging, there are a few things I want to make clear. The health and safety of my children are my utmost priorities. I have kept them safe and sheltered throughout this ordeal, and I will continue to do so. For those who support my ex-wife, you are entitled to your opinions, but my children are also her children. If you wish for the best for her, then personally attacking me is not in the best interest of anyone. I am not a Scientologist. I did not create or own the website which contains public information about my ex-wife. Finally, I want to point out the gross negligence of creators who are making judgments without first-hand knowledge of her situation and misinforming their followers. The added frenzy and mob tactics this has created has a potential to be extremely harmful to me, my ex-wife, and our children. Again, I want to emphasize that keeping everyone safe is my first concern. Now that I've explained to you how both of these individuals are just not the best number one parents in the world, and far from it. And before we move on to this next part, I want to clear up a couple things about this part. As you can see, she's still talking about it. This was just posted 4 hours ago, 6/25/2024. But here's the interesting thing about being a YouTuber. Usually when I cover stories like this, I'll reach out and I'll ask a couple people a couple questions. For example, what do they know about her driving on a suspended license? And I'll ask a couple other questions because 9 times out of 10, that's usually going to get back to the person that I'm making the video on. And then they'll behave in really bizarre ways. For example, this video released 5 days ago talking about her license.
Okay, I'm leaving the DMV because I just got, I had to get my license renewed. My old picture to my new picture. Hold on, let me show you guys.
This is interesting because this is one of the things I was inquiring about. Why is she driving with a suspended license? Is she driving with a suspended license? You can clearly search up the Florida ID and it says it's suspended. But what you'll notice about this is that she says she got her license renewed. Let's play back.
I just got, I had to get my license renewed.
This is called damage control because she tried to go out and make it look like she had her license because she was in fact driving. But there's one thing that she didn't consider. Here's the check from June 16th, 2024. It says the license is suspended and it's just a Class E. Her video was released on the 20th. She's obviously still driving. A recent search pulls up that the license is still suspended. But something new here. The credential is an ID card only, not a driver's license. So it's pretty clear to me that she put on a charade to trick people into thinking she actually had her license, because when you go search the ID, which in Florida can't be changed, it still says it's suspended. Now, it's not a big deal or the main focus of this video. Although you shouldn't be driving with a suspended license, it is just a more of an indicator that I can give to you to show you, hey, this person's not telling the truth. One user saying, is this a license or a state ID? I'm wondering the same. Me too. So obviously I'm researching this topic and frequently looking at her TikTok page. And she made this post that was up for maybe 20 minutes and then it was deleted. The post reads, the best thing for me to do right now is to share that my ex-husband Andrew Cormier is correct. I have made terrible mistakes. I have hurt many people, including my family and friends. He has done the right thing by trying to protect the girls and everyone involved. For years I have been unable to face the truth and admit my wrongdoings. Andrew is not in Scientology and only took some courses a few years ago. I do not wish the pain I caused on anyone. and the best thing for me to focus on is growth. I'm sorry, posting private conversations was uncalled for and shouldn't have been done. I will pray for forgiveness. Thank you. There was also a live stream done that I missed. Melissa on TikTok says,
who saw the live last night, Monday, June 24th? Who also saw this post, which has now since been deleted? And then this was a post on her friend Jen's account addressing it. If you saw Elizabeth's original post with what I had at the beginning of the video, she does address, I think, one person's comment a couple times. Yes, it's me, blah, blah, blah. They also state that they're going to address this post on the live or later in the day. They never did. But then last night, if you were on the live, Elizabeth just quickly brushed over, I was hacked. And then somebody in the comments a while down later was like, you were hacked? She doesn't typically read the comments that we want to address, that we want answers for. But this one she quickly brushed over, and then that was it. But we're not the type of creatures to let it go. We want answers. I want the truth. I just want the truth. If you're going to come on here and make this my business, then I need answers. And I think we all deserve answers.
Elizabeth actually comments below saying, I was hacked. I can't disclose more about that, which is why I did not speak more. I don't believe that she was hacked. I think it's because when I started asking questions behind the scenes, it made its way down the grapevine and she got scared and started doing damage control. I'm pretty certain I was still going to make the video, but adding this part in here and it being legitimate that she was taking accountability would have probably been a lot better of an optic. Now we need to talk about these alleged things that she says are not true. Notably, you heard her say
that even if all of the stuff he says is true, and everyone is asking if those allegations that he's making are true, no, they're not true.
So none of the allegations are true, on other occasions admitting mistakes.
In terms of myself, I don't want to act like I'm a perfect person in any way, shape, or form. I've made mistakes in my life. Yes, I did get arrested. That's not something that I've even remotely denied. I've actually touched base on that before on my page. I went through some pretty bad mental things as I was about a year out from getting divorced. And then when I left, even worse. I was going out all the time. I made a bunch of mistakes. I wrote a bad check, which in turn got me arrested.
It's true that she talked about this on other occasions, but she keeps reiterating it was just a bad check.
I got arrested. I cashed a check out of my account to open a new private account of my own, and I cashed a check to put it in there, and before the check cleared, it bounced. That's exactly what happened. I got my case closed, and I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, I made a stupid mistake.
So she said that's exactly what happened. It was just a bounced check. Let's go check out the court documents. So she was charged with 3 separate theft felonies. One being grand theft third degree, $10,000 to $20,000, cashier deposit item with intent to defraud, and another cashier deposit item with intent to defraud. The reason that there's so many of these is because it happened at more than one location. On February 22nd, 23, defendant Teckenbrock opened a checking account with Seacrest Bank branch. At account opening, the defendant posited $100 personal check from her Chase bank account. A day later, on 2/23/23, at approximately 14:47 hours, defendant Teckenbrock returned to the branch where she deposited a check for $10,000 from the same Chase checking account. Another day later, 2/24/23, defendant Teckenbrock went to Seacrest Bank located on where she withdrew $8,000 in cash. 3 days later, on 2/27/23, Teckenbrock deposited a check for $10,000 from the same Chase banking account. A day after that, 2/28/23, Teckenbrock's first check for $10,000 was returned for insufficient funds, and then on March 2nd, the second $10,000 check was returned for insufficient funds. During the period of 2/24 to 3/2/23, Teckenbrock conducted multiple debit card, Zelle, and Cash App withdrawals in the amount of approximately $2,406.15. The Seacoast Bank suffered a total loss of $10,406.15. Teckenbrock was positively identified by her Florida driver's license. The eyewitness, ML, positively identified Teckenbrock.
I cashed a check to put it in there, and before the check cleared, it bounced. That's exactly what happened. I got my case closed, and I don't know what else to say about that. I mean,
so that's definitely not exactly what happened. And there was 1, 2, 3 checks Not one. Not only was this methodically planned out, it's not true that this was a casual mistake. Their felony theft charges, and the case was not just closed either. She was accepted into a pretrial intervention contract. These types of programs can be available to individuals that commit nonviolent crimes such as theft. It says the defendant has been charged with a criminal offense that is eligible for pretrial intervention program PTI. It's agreed that the defendant meets criteria and qualifications for admission into the PTI program. And there's specific stipulations that involve this program that she's really not abiding by. The defendant agrees to be completely law-abiding during the term of this agreement and to notify her supervising officer of any new arrest or contact with law enforcement authorities. So making a fake nonprofit and taking people's money is probably not, law-abiding. Or driving around with no license. Not to mention all the money you're taking from all these innocent people through Venmo and Cash App and these other situations. But you said...
Everyone is asking if those allegations that he's making are true. No, they're not true.
But this isn't just a one-off. Elizabeth has a pattern of behavior, even at one point in time getting her father's wages garnished. In the case of Harris vs. Teckenbrock in 4/14/2015, she was ordered to pay restitution of $9,559.67. As I read through this, there were multiple times where she made excuses not to show up or just didn't appear. 5/14/2015, defendant fails to appear. 9/16/2015, defendant contacts court and states that she's not able to attend the hearing because she lives in Florida now. Defendant states she's going to write a letter to the court with a payment arrangement she would like to set up to pay the plaintiff. 7/10/2015, defendant fails to appear. 7/22/2015, defendant contacts court and states she is aware of the hearing, but is not able to come because she lives in Florida. On 8/05/2015, court receives a letter from the defendant asking if she signs a wage garnishment rule, the rule to show cause can be canceled. 1/27/2016, there was supposed to be a payment sent in, but that did not happen. 3/02/2016, defendant contacts court and states she's in early labor and not able to appear on 3/3/16. Court requests a doctor's note, but the defendant failed to appear. And in my research, I figured out that this is often something that she does. There's always going to be a payment arrangement. There's always going to be a new court date, a reason why she can't come in, a reason why she can't pay the babysitter for watching her kids. And she never paid, and she owes $9,559.67 as of 6/17/2024 of this year. In Joe's Auto Sales versus Elizabeth Teckenbrock and her father, the monetary award was $8,531.33. Awarded to Joe's Auto Sales and awarded against Elizabeth Teckenbrock, to which her father ended up having his wages garnished. And it's fully paid off as of 6/17/2024. And at one point, she faked having a coffee shop while she was faking stage 4 lymphoma. You're not going to believe this. Yehuda Limited Partnership versus Lulu's Coffee and Wine Bar, 2/7/2023. So here's the interesting thing about this court document. It lists Elizabeth Teckenbrock and Dr. Andrew Cormier. And apparently not one payment was made. It's alleged that on November 1st, 2021, landlord and tenant entered into a 5-year written lease agreement. The monthly rent was supposed to be $4,210.50. But from February 1st, 2022 through April 1st, 2022, tenant rented the property without remitting any payments to the landlords despite repeated requests for payment. So she rented this place, she never made one payment, and then while she was renting it out, she rented it out to someone else. On or about April 29th, 2022, tenant entered into a sublease agreement and sublet the property to a subtenant. And they went after her for $119,004.77. Notably, we saw Andrew's name at the top of this lease. Well, it turns out that it's alleged that she forged his signature. The wife acknowledges and admits that she pledged the husband's name to the lease without the husband's knowledge or permission. So let's get this straight. Elizabeth forged her husband's name, never made the first payment, and then sublet the place out. They went after Elizabeth and Andrew for $119,004.77 without the husband's knowledge or permission. This situation ended up being dismissed for lack of prosecution, which only means that the landlord decided for whatever reason that they didn't want to go forward with it. Maybe they rented it out to somebody else, but it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It could potentially be refiled depending on certain conditions. It also turns out that Elizabeth was supposed to be paying her family's mortgage, which apparently it's alleged that she did not do with the money given to her. The wife expressly acknowledges that she unilaterally dissipated the value of the residence, which basically means that she devalued the property in some way by not taking care of it, not cleaning it up. Maybe it got really messy. Whatever it was, it made it hard to be resold, which caused the residence to be lost to foreclosure. The wife further acknowledges and agrees that as a direct result of her sole actions in this regard, the sum of $494,000 is owed to the husband from the wife as, oh my God. So if I'm reading that correctly, she devalued the home by not taking proper care of it and didn't pay any mortgage. Apparently after foreclosure, Elizabeth, her ex-husband, and her children had to move in with family members. Let's talk about that faked cancer.
I want to introduce one of our amazing platinum donors. This is Elizabeth, and she is just an amazing human being inside and out, and I can't wait for you to hear her story.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I am really excited to be a part of this movement and raise money for a great cause and celebrate with everyone, and also share my story and help other women out.
So it's alleged she was acting as an advocate and raising money for this cause. Apparently this is a fake doctor update from Elizabeth. We requested Elizabeth's scans and blood work to be sent out to the Mayo Clinic for a second opinion. Their conclusion is the same. So this is essentially Elizabeth is faking being a medical professional, which, you know, that's illegal. It's alleged that she also sent out these scans and said that they were hers. So here she is posting her arm all wrapped up, and looks like there's some makeup on there. She also scammed innocent people out of money with a GoFundMe. Here's the GoFundMe, Elizabeth's lymphoma journey, and at this time it raised nearly $5,000. Worst is that she staged her kids in the photo. And here's the ex-husband posting pictures of Elizabeth posting pictures of a lot of money, saying, so if you donated this fake fund, please message me. Yet again, another post that Elizabeth made with her license and the ribbon for the cause, saying only message if you are willing to provide documentation to the police, as a report has been started looking into this. Also alleged is that she faked having the needing of a liver transplant. Here's a post from Elizabeth in the Elizabeth Stage 4 journey saying, good morning update. We have one heck of a prayer chain going. We had an anonymous donor for a liver. They're going to prep with a ton of antibiotics, and they have the transplant on Thursday. It was a scary procedure, but we will continue to pray. God bless all of you and everything you're doing. Prayers are working. We are #ComeHereStrong. She apparently even sold merch. There's even alleged messages from her saying, I lied about having this illness. Absolutely disgusting, lying about having a high-risk pregnancy due to this type of illness. One Reddit user saying, I followed her during these days. She 1000% says she had cancer while pregnant with her daughter. I was in the Facebook group. And apparently she even had her father move from Indiana to Florida to take care of her. This is how far she went. Acted like she had no hair and a fake port. And then she eventually went ghost, leaving people to question what happened. And here's even a duet video from a concerned patron. Watch as Elizabeth lies.
And do and update myself. Hey guys, I just wanted to get on and do and update myself. I have been feeling really sick since I woke up. I woke up with a temperature of 101.9, I think, and then it's now at like 103. So right now I'm just waiting on a call back from my doctor on what they want me to do. I'm getting to the point right now where like I have to have help walk into the bathroom, or like I'm gonna go take a shower, and I know I can't do that myself right now. I'm too weak. And just the stress with everything else in my life surrounding this, and just me being sick and everything that comes along with it. I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know how anyone does this. But thank you to everyone who has reached out and said prayers for me, and hopefully this fight with lymphoma ends.
One user saying, those poor effing kids, that's all I'm going to say. Another saying, right, they're both horrible parents. The kids have done nothing to deserve these people. She had friends and family supporting her. One person saying, she told me back in September she beat stage 4 lymphoma and rang her remission bells in October last year. She randomly got divorced and now is living her best life. She lied to a bunch of people and stole money, my family included. What makes the whole thing even more sickening is her own family was in on it. I can't wrap my head around that someone would do this. And to the fact that I was there for her, a good friend and everything. I was going to stay quiet, but I can't. Karma will come back. I don't know if the family was in on it. I don't believe so. As you'll see in this video, we actually hear from the family. It's a shady situation. A TikToker named Megan Renee responds to somebody saying, I donated to her GoFundMe years ago, and I followed her journey. Then poof, she was gone, and no update. And to find out, this was all fake. Absolutely horrible.
This is Nikki. Nikki is actually one of my friends from our hometown, which is a very small, like, cookie crumble on the Indiana map. Also where Elizabeth is from.
A user saying, this is legit what happened to me. I donated and poof. I even have videos from her Cormier Corner BS. So I think I've got the point across pretty clear in this video that this woman is some sort of sociopath. But let's hear from her friends and family. A former friend named Alexis said, everyone keep her and her family in your thoughts. Please pray. Hashtag Cormier Strong. She posts several different photos of them together, saying, my good friend since middle school got diagnosed with stage 4. If we could just all take a minute and pray. I mean, this is really disturbing stuff here. One user saying, why isn't this video getting more views? Alexa says, it's from 3 years ago. She lied about having this illness. Another saying, any updates on her? Yeah, she's making cupcakes and stealing millions. And our own sister had this to say, she mentally and emotionally destroyed our whole family and put everyone through it, especially my grandma. She don't ever even have her kids at all. That's all she cares about is robbing people, lying, and money. Definition of nasty doesn't even fit her. She'll be in jail by the end of the year, along with a couple others who played a role. And her cousin Autumn posted this on TikTok. Why is the entire family blocked? Why was the family kicked off the live? Why isn't family at her defense? Go ask yourself. Just tell the people the truth. Also saying, in response to somebody saying, and also Mama Tot made a video supporting her as well.
The fact that you have so much confidence to come to the internet and speak so boldly on something you know absolutely nothing about is quite literally disgusting. Whether you want to believe it or not, this really did happen, and she did 100% fake having stage 4 lymphoma. You do not know the trauma it caused my family. You do not know the trauma it caused my grandparents. You do not know the trauma it has caused Andrew. I don't know what more proof you need. Whether you want to believe it or not, it did happen, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves, especially these creators who are coming to this app, posting so boldly about it, sharing this information on their platforms that they have millions of followers on, when in reality they're spreading misinformation.
Here's another video that Elizabeth posted from back then saying, can we start a prayer chain so I can beat the 20% odds and make it through chemo? Not good. One user saying, this is deplorable. I don't think there's anyone that hasn't been affected by cancer in some way, either personal, family, friend, or professionally. For someone to do this is horrible. And for I believe this is a woman on TikTok named Mama Tot that goes by Ophelia. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later in the video. And for O to support her makes her just as disgusting. And we're going to talk about creators who, without doing their research and due diligence, compromise their own credibility by taking sides and getting their viewers scammed soon. First, I want to go over an interview that was done by a YouTuber named A Father's Crisis. Now, I'm not endorsing this creator. I don't know who they are. All I know is that they've done this interview, which is very important. Specifically with 2 blood cousins, the stepmom, and the ex-husband. And here's how they allege that the stage 4 scam started.
Did she come out saying she had cancer?
In the end of the 2020 year, around December.
Okay.
She just suddenly had this diagnosis. And, well, it started off with, I had a lump found in her, she had a lump found in her armpit. So then she's telling family members, especially my mom, because this person talked to my mother quite often. So she's telling my mom, you know, day by day, appointment by appointment, they found this lump. They told me to come in immediately. So she goes into this doctor's office, hypothetically, whatever, immediately, and is just all of a sudden she has lymphoma. You know, it happened very, very quickly, and it did not go on for long. So probably December-ish is when it happened in 2020, and then maybe like May of 2021, she's gone. So okay. It happened very quickly, and it's very, I would say she's a very unpredictable person. So like one day I was getting a liver transplant, and like I'm looking for a recipient for a liver transplant one day, and then I kid you not, hours later, we're having surgery on Thursday. So things happen very, very quickly.
Right. So was she trying to illicit gifts and money and like what was that process? What did that process look like? What all did she do to try to get all that stuff?
So it began on TikTok, and the whole TikTok like mojo, I guess then, or theme was, I'm a stage 4 lymphoma patient while being pregnant. So you
Okay.
can imagine the sympathy that she got from complete strangers, on TikTok. Of course, you would want to help. So it really
Right.
started there. And then, of course, the Amazon link came out with the baby registry. So everything on the registry is bought, hundreds of packages at the door, makes a video, posts it on TikTok, thank you, TikTok. But then the Facebook page came about, and that was made by her to keep family, friends, TikTok members, quote unquote, up to date on her diagnosis, and she would post there daily. It's unimaginable. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make it up.
Now they go on to talk about very important context about how the family responded.
So my grandma, my grandpa, Andrew, and then her dad, which is, I'm not going to say her dad's name on live. I don't feel comfortable doing that. So
That's fine. You don't have to. Yeah.
So those were the 4 mainly impacted by it. One, because obviously Andrew is, her spouse at the time. And I do want to make this very clear to people. This is not me against her and on Andrew's side. This is me for the truth, and that's it. I'm not speaking of Andrew, any allegations against him, because I simply don't know. So I'm just going to get that out there.
Right. So yeah, go ahead.
They did move into my grandparents' house, so my grandparents were most impacted by it. Honestly, I mean, you have to think about this for a minute. They think their granddaughter is dying of stage 4 lymphoma cancer while pregnant with their great-grandchild. And her father did not live here in the state of Florida. Her father lived in Indiana.
Okay.
So his whole life was uprooted and moved to Indiana solely off of the fact, or the thought that he thought his daughter had cancer.
Specifically, we already know she was forging Andrew's signature and lying about paying mortgage. They go on to talk about whether or not he knew she faked this illness.
Like, what does Andrew think? He lives in the house with her. Does he not know? So we thought of those questions as well. It's not that we just completely overlooked that and never thought that would be an option. But at the same time, you guys don't know that Andrew never had social media at that time. He never had social media. He never had a GoFundMe account until it was mentioned and he was in the room. And, oh, what? There's a GoFundMe account? So we have to keep in mind he was not exposed to everything online that we were exposed to as the family, because we saw it. He did not.
Okay, so you believe that she was even doing this kind of like behind his back?
Yes, until he started to figure out on his own, what things aren't adding up.
She goes on to allege that Elizabeth was telling her own children that she was going to pass away.
She has 4 kids total, just 2 with Andrew. She must be telling her kids these things too, that she might die.
Oh, most definitely, because I mean, her oldest one is like 13, so we're going back just a few years ago. So he definitely has like the brain, like the capacity to understand, hey, mom's sick. It's not like he was a 1-year-old baby at the time. So yeah, he most certainly knew.
Andrew comes on and starts to explain exactly how she was able to fake this while he was there. And he brings up a point that I didn't even think about, and I bet you didn't either.
I think the biggest perspective to take away is COVID. Think back to COVID, how everything was. And I think that's hard to maybe remember in the moment, but COVID was probably the perfect time to do this. It was, I mean, she's very calculated, very smart. COVID, you could not go with anyone to any appointments, and I did not have any social media. I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have TikTok. I mean, I actually didn't really believe in social media. I made it a point to stay off social media since probably like 2010. And I think that was also used to her advantage. So during COVID, you could not go to any doctor's appointments, as people probably may or may not. I'm sure everyone remembers COVID. During that time, you couldn't go to any doctor's appointments. And again, I don't have social media. So I never actually saw all the social media stuff until actually probably within a couple months after, she had left, I started doing, some social media research and things like that, and saw how, sick she appeared on the videos. But when I would get home, she was never appearing that sick. I mean, I knew she said that she had it, but that's not your first instinct to say, are you sure?
Right. Yeah.
So eventually, you're kind of getting, like Autumn was saying, you kind of get called on. Doctor's appointments get, Zoom appointments get moved. The baby she's pregnant and they're going to do a C-section, and then they decide they're not. And we're getting these like app updates on doctor's appointments. And with these app updates, I mean, at one point I looked at her, I said, your doctors don't know anything. You need new doctors, like right away, because you're all of a sudden like you're basically your body is failing. You need all these transplants. I said, these doctors do not know anything about what's, if this is going on, you fire them. And then literally like 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, they're consulting with the Mayo Clinic out of Jacksonville. And again, like looking back at it, I realized it's because I knew I had called her out on the management of her treatment. And to hide it, she basically, created new doctors that were more equipped and more aware of, how better to serve her. So those are the two things I'll say: is the social media aspect of it, where I didn't have it. So I'd get home and she behaved one way. I saw the video where she said she couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. Obviously, when I get home, like she's, doesn't seem like she's 100%, but she definitely is like, not just laying in bed. And
Right.
then, so the thing that we won't mention, but during that time, again, it's all done on app and Zoom. And I mean, I think back now, I drove her to the hospital and she must have went in and literally just sat there.
So this woman faked being medical professionals, much like she faked being a lawyer, according to court documents. Respondent exhibited serious mental health issues as evidenced by previous testimony she offered, wherein she admitted to engaging in fraud, including but not limited to forging the husband's name on official documents, improperly fabricating law office to deceive third parties, and pretending to be an attorney in the party's foreclosure action. Respondent has texted the petitioner to notify him that she has a drinking problem and mental health issues, and that she had planned to commit herself for therapy and rehabilitation. Despite the same, she continues to ignore the very concerns she recognized in her behavior and continues to act in an unsavory manner. As evidence of the same, respondent further falsely claimed to suffer from to elicit donations from innocent third parties, while also creating a fake coffee business to further encourage investors to entrust her with money, which she converted to her own personal use to the detriment of others. Such conduct has already been introduced to the court, which found the respondent not to be credible, wherein the court noted its significant concerns giving her conduct. Respondent acts upon her own interests and not in the interests of the minor children by failing to show at scheduled time-sharing visits, abandoning the minor children, failing to address the children's needs. Andrew goes on to talk about the custody agreement, and what he alleges gives pretty good insight.
The type of person she is we had several hearings, and eventually all she does is delay for another day. So eventually she ran out of days. She basically refused to show up for her last three pre-parent meetings, if you will. And so the judge kept giving her more, he said, all right, fine. Like, basically, and I was mad at the time because I was just like, how many chances are you going to, give this person? But looking back on it, I realized like you have to do that. And the judge had to do that. The judge had to be 1,000% sure that this person did not want to, participate or be a mother. And so by the fourth, fifth time that she refused to show up, and told him that she was in the hospital, he asked for a hospital record. And at that point, obviously, she never was in the hospital. So she either had to make a decision. Do I falsify a document to a judge, or do I, just am I out of days, and this is the the right thing to do.
Apparently, this is what led to her signing full custody over to Andrew, which I've never heard of a mother doing, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below.
I just want to clarify in my own mind, the reason that she's not able to see her kids is because the judge has issued an order that she has to fulfill certain requirements, including a mental evaluation, in order to see them, and she is refusing to do that. Is that a correct assessment, Andrew?
In the black and white terms, yes, because she's reached out in the past, and I've never not allowed her to see them. It's given her a pass to not go through the process. So, when your daughters, are asking, and if she's asking, you know, I, I do bring them and have supervised visits, with her. So I think that actually enables her to not have to go through the proper, steps, if you will.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, like, I don't think she's necessarily refusing. I think she just feels like she doesn't need to do that because she can always just call me. In the past, she's always been able to call me, and I would drop everything for them to spend time.
Right. So I understand. I have kids too, but
supervised. It's always
Yeah,
supervised.
Yeah. So to clarify, just so I understood correctly, the judge has issued an order. She has to meet certain requirements, including a mental evaluation, before she can have custody or see her kids. And you've graciously allowed her to still see her kids with supervised visitation with you there, which you don't
Yes.
have to do, but you've allowed.
Correct. I don't have to do any of that stuff. And in the past, I have, when there's times that I feel she is, I don't know what the right word is, but when I feel it is not a good idea, then we don't. But, if she's in communication and, saying the right things, if you will, then yes, I don't have to do those things. But, at the end of the day, who wants to keep your kids, from that parent, even though I know, who she is. Again, it's not like I'm dropping them off and I'm like, I'll see you on Monday, for the weekend. It's, it's always supervised. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that makes total sense. So the narrative that you're not letting her see him is false. The courts have ordered she can't see him, and you're still allowing it because you want your kids to have a relationship with their mother, which to me sounds like good parenting, even though it does kind of give her the freedom to not have to do what she's supposed to do by the court.
It does.
So I've never seen somebody lie so much. And just to recap, she said that none of the alleged things were true.
Is asking if those allegations that he's making are true. No, they're not true.
And they were, trying to make it seem like it was just a bad check.
Got arrested. I cashed a check out of my account to open a new private account of my own, and I cashed a check to put it in there, and before the check cleared, it bounced. That's exactly what happened.
But it was 3 bad checks, 3 felonies. She also said that she didn't have a liver transplant.
No, I did not have a liver transplant. No. Don't believe everything that you see on the internet.
One user saying she put it on the internet herself. And yet again, another user saying it was her saying she needed it. I donated to her lying ASS, thinking she was a mama with an illness who needed help. Saying the illness was harsh or along those lines and her liver was failing, so she got private donor and people started asking for proof and she was gone. Her smug ASS attitude, I just can't. And here's a receipt of her saying she's going to have one. We got an anonymous donor for liver. Scary procedure, but we will continue to pray. It's difficult to think that people like this actually exist, but they actually do. Thus, the stepmom comes out and speaks about how she was going to give Elizabeth her liver. Check this out.
Elizabeth's dad moved to Indiana from Florida. I was engaged to her father. Everyone's like, oh, this is the true Cinderella story because I'm coming out and talking about this. You guys don't know. I gave up my corporate $500 job for a lie. I emptied out my savings account to buy a house for a lie. So for those people out there saying, oh, she's had a troubled past and she didn't mean it. You guys don't understand how deep this really goes, and I'm really trying to hold my tears back right now because you guys don't even know. I'm in Florida because of her lie. Because I stood beside my man and I made sure that his daughter was taken care of. I was supposed to give her part of my liver. So that liver story is true. You guys have no idea how deep this rabbit hole goes, and so many people are talking about it and they don't know because they didn't live it. I did. I lived it every day for 3 years, guys. And then the bad check, I will touch on that for a quick second because she brings up the bad check for a split second and she goes, oh, I wrote a bad check, guys. You know, everyone makes mistakes. Guys, this is not one check. This was multiple checks. Not only was it multiple checks, but it was grand theft. Grand theft, people.
That's really terrible to hear, but she also goes on to talk about the current scam that's going on right now.
It's real, guys. You guys don't know, and this isn't the first scam. That's the sad part. There's other scams, but we're only keeping to the cancer because that's the only one that people will listen to us about. There's many more. Here's a good, everyone take notes. Everyone take notes right now, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you something. You know her name, you know her first name, you know her last name. Look her up on LinkedIn.
This is the current and ongoing scam, and man, this woman is lying in plain sight. Let's go check out the LinkedIn. So this is the LinkedIn. It actually did have a picture. It says Fear to Fierce. It also lists Purdue University, where compassion meets empowerment in our community. We honor survivors' journeys from fear to fierceness. 1 month ago, posting, I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position as founder at Fear to Fierce. And it says that this is committed to assist survivors of DV situations through support services and advocacy, empowering women to stand against fear and embrace their inherent fierceness. Non-profit organization here. And then it lists Purdue University, a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, an MBBS. And I looked into this, and I gave him a call too. This doesn't exist at this school. Around 1909, the state legislature clearly mandated that Indiana University assume full responsibility for the state's public medical school, officially ending Purdue's involvement. So an MBBS is a degree received by students in the UK and Commonwealth countries and is equivalent to an MD degree in the US. So apparently the medical education system in the United States does not include an MBBS. Instead, here in America, we offer MD. So apparently Purdue not only doesn't have a school of medicine, but unless Elizabeth went out of the country, which she can't do, she doesn't have an MBBS at all. So now the website Fear to Fierce says the site is temporarily on hold, but if you scroll to the bottom, it still has the fake 501 nonprofit organization stamp. And now she's deleted all social media to do with Fear to Fierce. The TikTok, the Instagram's gone. Twitter's still there. And the Facebook's still there. Facebook actually still has the false date for this gala that she had scheduled. I know you know this is a scam already, but just to show you, if you copy the name Fear to Fierce and then type it in, the organization name on the IRS, it says it's in Tampa, Florida. There are no results, which isn't very shocking. I understand that. And I want to verify to you that she's directly connected to this. This comment saying, it's a real company. It's registered with the IRS and the paperwork for the 501c is submitted. It was registered in April. This is when things got really serious with him because he knew when my video went viral, he knew I had a voice now. And with that, I was starting this nonprofit. He was scared, so he needed to stop my voice. One user saying, makes total sense. He didn't want to be associated with DV, but his efforts to destroy you have backfired. You're doing great things. Disgusting to be lying to these people who are probably affected by DV situations. Makes me sick. And because I like to cross my T's and dot my I's, I want to verify that this is legitimate because the comment's still there. Right, here's her comment. You click it straight back to her profile. Here's someone that says, I got scammed. I paid for the lowest package she had available. I had some questions about the dress code and she wouldn't respond to emails. So I called the event charter and they had no idea what I was talking about. I checked their website and sure enough, the event was not listed. Saying it's okay to laugh. Thankfully, it was the lowest option, but my bank is now investigating to get it back. It's not funny, and this is happening to a lot of people. Here's the order confirmation here. Here's the gala. Scheduled for August 17th, 2024. There was nothing on the calendar. Look at these tiers on her website that she was selling here. And it says the refund policy is all sales are final. There are no refunds. This is especially disgusting to me because I've spent a lot of years advocating for these types of situations and helping people in DV situations. My community has raised thousands and thousands of dollars towards this cause right here, and we're doing it right now. You can see the right on desktop below on mobile. You can donate. It's legitimate. And we're currently at $1,524 of 5,000 raised. So if you guys want to donate to a good cause, this is it. And if you have been scammed by her, let me know in the comments section. I want to hear your story. And meanwhile, that scam was going on. She was on live stream requesting money from people. This reads, I have seen people claim that she already has legal counsel and that she hasn't been asking for money donations. This video says otherwise, and it's from June 1st.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a lawyer, but it's very, very expensive, obviously. I am going to start baking to earn money, and then also I have my Cash App and Venmo linked in my bio, and I'm also created a YouTube channel. I'm not starting a GoFundMe, no.
Probably because she can't, because she made a fraudulent one. One comment saying Elizabeth has no interest in spending money on a lawyer because if she did, she would have done so when the judge told her if she followed the terms of the agreement that she could have unsupervised visits with her 2 youngest kids, and that's very true. She had previously stated that she is not asking for money from people, but she planned out this during her live stream on Saturday.
So I think I'll make like a little video that says that I'm going to sell that, and then my Cash App and my Venmo are in my bio, so I'll just have like I'll just have everyone like Venmo and Cash App there and email like a receipt, and you guys can like email me. I guess maybe like my email my email is in my bio, so if someone emails me what they want, then I can send it and order it. Because then I'm not actually collecting anything for something that, like, you guys got something for me.
One commenter suggesting you could make t-shirts, which, trust me, that's something she's really familiar with. On top of all these scams, it looks like a babysitter that was watching her kids has come forward saying that she owes her money too. The babysitter saying, why are people defending Elizabeth Teckenbrock? I went through it. I'm one of the people she over. She's a horrible person. I used to nanny for her back in 2022. I would watch all 4 of her kids all days and most nights, hardly had time off. And she owes me $4,100. She is over here scamming people and lying to tons of people. I got proof she was arrested and got her 2 youngest kids taken away. And she's over here making TikToks.
Hi, I'm Ashley. Let me tell you about Elizabeth Teckenbrock and Andrew Cormier. I was hired by Elizabeth in 2022 for childcare for 4 children, a baby, toddler, a 5 and 10-year-old. I got the job with Elizabeth as a babysitter working some weekends. Elizabeth ended up firing her current nanny and hired me on as her new one, having me leave my current job at a daycare to work for her full time. Long story short, Elizabeth would make excuses up about her card being locked due to fraud, bank issues, etc., all while having a job. Supposedly refused to pay me and kept giving me a later date that I would receive my payment for the child care provided. She owes me $4,100. Andrew Cormier knew about this as he is a children's father. I made him aware due to me being screwed with no money for my rent and my personal needs. Andrew told me he would pay half of the care provided for his children. Although he is very wealthy, I have not received one payment. These people are both fraudulent, lying manipulators.
She also posts messages between her and Elizabeth that kind of solidify the situation. He said the money should be in my account by 3? Yes. What happens if the money isn't in my account by 3? He will take it out tonight and drive it over after work, he promised. Take out $4,100? Yes. What time does he get off? 7. He has $41 in cash? Yes. He will be there at 9:30? Okay. And of course that didn't happen. For sure we're going to the bank tomorrow morning? Yes. And I'm getting $3,500? Yes. And then she's asking about the money again, and then Elizabeth's like, Ashley, I know. Please stop talking to me in that tone. I'm doing everything I can. Which is weird to me because you really can't read tones through text messages. That would be more like a mental projection of the tone that you think you're hearing. Her saying she's at the bank now with a little picture. And this is really reminiscent of the court documents that we went through where she'll make excuses and change the dates and never follow through with what she's supposed to. And to this day, the babysitter has not been paid $1. I know we've already established the fact that Elizabeth is a fraudulent liar, but I wanted to show you her response to her family coming out on the previous YouTuber's video earlier.
Just give a little insight to something, okay? This you? Was this you in my DMs April 27th at 4:32 p.m. asking about my dog? The cousin that hates me disowned me and is talking shit about me to all of TikTok to get some fame or whatever you're trying to do. Was this you messaging me?
This makes absolutely no sense to me because she's literally just asking about a dog. And I think most of us know that, and this is a nuance that many people's gone through, you can love people because they're family members and not like the person that they are. So this fallacious attack right here speaks for itself.
I'm confused. Yeah, ask your mom what she was messaging me too about if I have an OF account or a sugar daddy account, because if so, could I give her clues on how to set it up so that she can get money? Now, maybe that was you guys trying to trap me, but I don't really know since that's not what I do.
Yet again, another lie. She 100% used to have an OF account.
This was you, right? Yeah. And since we're talking about arrest records, the one that I have, the case is closed.
As we've seen earlier, the case is not closed.
All of you are drug addicts and criminals. Have you looked up your dad? Or your dad's brother? Or your mom? Yeah. So I don't really know what you got going on here. Or Jocelyn, she was on there too, I heard. What about her mom? Yeah. So I hope that you guys are having a good time. I hope that this is fun for you about my life and my family. But since we're going to keep playing this game, I have more to come. So
guys, this is a disgusting person. I'm so glad I'm able to make this video with such depth and detail because this woman doesn't deserve $1. I mean, she's sitting here talking like those members of her family who are going through addiction issues are also not her same family members. Notably, what's really telling about this situation, instead of addressing the issues that her family members brought up, she does ad hominem attacks on their character instead of talking about the very important things that need to be addressed. Ad hominem is attacking the person. This fallacy occurs when instead of addressing someone's argument or position, you irrelevantly attack the person's character. There's also ad hominem gaslighting, which is a character of ABUSC. You could even say that gaslighting is simply veiled ad hominem attacks, and that resisting makes a manipulator show their true colors. In my research, I also caught her lying about her ex-husband, taking a clip out of context as if to say that he made that website.
Also on the live, stating that they asked him, was the domestic violence injunctions that she tried to file on you, were those, they said, alleged, false abuse, they said, were those before you created the website or after? Because they were trying to imply that they were like a response to him creating the website about me or the page. Well, let's hear his answer, because there was no answer. It was, well, I don't want to get too much into it. You don't want to get too much into it? You posted all of our business for everyone on the internet while I was crying about a fucking birthday cake, but you don't want to get too much into it. Not when you're asked about hard questions about yourself. You don't know what to say when it's live and on the spot and you didn't sit there recording in front of your ring light why the girls are running around, don't know what to do with themselves because you're too busy ruining my life for the last 3 years, almost 4. But you didn't know what answer to give when someone that was actually on your team, I think he was trying to have your back. So let's hear these clips, okay? Wind it back. Let's hear it.
2 years, less than 2 years. What came first, the false allegations of abuse or that page?
So my page, again, like, I don't want to give like that much detail, but basically people that don't know behind the scenes.
In other words, what a Scientologist will say, that was a comm lag. That means that he does not actually have the answer, so he had to say 10 other things before even formulating the thought that he had next, because it is bullshit. I'll tell you when the first.
This is a lie. They were not talking about any website. They were talking about his TikTok account. Here's the full context.
How's your personal mental health doing with all this?
Yeah, honestly, it's better than ever because I actually feel, again, I don't want to say it was my job to do this, but I do feel that responsibility. And I feel like a weight off my shoulders because it's out there. And again, people can make their own decisions. But, at the end of the day, when stuff is finally revealed, someone, I kind of, say, man, someone should have made like a TikTok page to like warn us about this person. And it's like, so
I mean, I've done like 2 lives on Elizabeth now. This one obviously being the bigger one, but we're not coming after her to defame her or anything like. This is a warning. She is a con artist. She is not better. She is not telling the truth about these things, and all these things you can easily look up online through the county courthouse dockets. Look up her court cases. She's been evicted, twice? She's been
3 times.
Okay, 3 times. She ran 5 red lights. I don't even know how she has.
She doesn't have a driver's license.
She doesn't have a driver's license, but she has a car, so that's interesting.
She's still driving, yes.
Still driving with a suspended license. That's also, great for the kids. Yeah. 5. Went with 5 speeding red lights within like 2 years, less than 2 years.
What came first, the false allegations of abuse or that page?
So my page, again, like, I don't want to give like that much detail, but basically people that don't know, behind the scenes, when I had talked to her and I just said like, kind of gave her a chance behind the scenes. And at the point that I saw that the behavior wasn't changing, that's when I, created the page. So essentially it was after everything. I mean, it was about 8 months after she left that I created the page. I basically gave her, 8 months to try and figure things out behind the scenes before I just said, this is definitely, and I knew eventually this would, be a big story because it's every turn is just unbelievable. And that is why people hate my name, but it is so fitting.
I also went to verify if indeed her license was suspended, and it is. Here's the driver's license status as of June 16th, 2024, 4:40 p.m. Florida driver's license number, and I'm going to blur that, is suspended. There's a lot more alleged fraudulent activity, scams, you name it, it's there. It's unbelievable, but I wanted to use my platform to keep people from being scammed and to set the record straight on what these other high echelon TikTok creators have put the energy towards. They're hurting their followers. One user saying, I still have not received my money back. I will embarrassingly admit I also gave her $50, but that was when she had it just on her regular site, and I didn't think to take a screenshot. Another saying, oh my God, if you're giving her money like that, it's your own fault. But I think the bigger issue is that she's scamming people, and probably the IRS taxpayers too, no? Like, this is insane. And then they said, I think it's a worse feeling because I'm a DV survivor. While technically it's true that if you give money to a known scammer, it's your fault. But if a larger creator that you enjoy and watch daily happens to legitimize that scammer, you might be more inclined to give that money. Let's talk about that. These TikTok creators should issue a public retraction and apology explaining the oversight and warning their followers about the scam. Under Elizabeth's videos, you'll see people saying, just came from Mama Tot's vid. You're setting a great example for your kids. Forgiving yourself and learning from your past is a skill and a practice. I hope you're able to heal. Another, I came here from Mama Tot. I'm just here to say I see you, Mama. You are amazing. You are loved and you are enough, just the way you are. Keep focusing on the light that came from the dark place. Many other comments saying the same. So we know the context because we've done the research. We also know that somebody can be a survivor of DV situations and also be doing harmful and bad things to people. There is a nuance there, and these nuances need to be understood because We have to prevent the spread of more harm to other people. That should be the priority. But here's a clip from Mama Tot's original video promoting Elizabeth.
That piece of paper that he's, got to show real loud and proud that he has custody doesn't necessarily mean anything. You guys don't have a clue what she's been through. I got a big damn feeling what she's been through. And how do I know? Because I went through the same thing. Oh yeah, very much.
I don't think she did go through the same thing. I don't think she's committed grand theft. At least I hope not. I don't think that she's scammed innocent people out of their money. At least I hope not. I don't think that she's putting forth a false narrative just for views. At least I hope not.
I know people like him. And the people that have dealt with someone like that and have went through the trauma and the mental abuse, we see right through it. I'm sorry that a lot of other people can't. Maybe that's a good thing, okay? But I'm going to say this very loud, clear, proud, and what? I don't care what Elizabeth, the mom, has done in her past.
And see, that's the problem. By not thoroughly researching the person that you promoted, you risk spreading false and misleading information about their legitimacy.
And the people judging this mom in the comments, shame on you, as if you have nothing that you've never done that was a mistake of any kind.
I would wager that most people haven't faked a serious illness to scam thousands of dollars from innocent people, committed grand theft to defraud thousands of dollars from people, scammed nearly $1 million from an elderly man, faked businesses, fabricated law offices and attorneys, faked being medical professionals, and told her children that she was going to pass away. That's a lot. These creators have a responsibility to their audience to provide accurate and reliable information. Neglecting this duty can undermine their influence in future content, and it should. The public endorsement by these popular creators lent unwarranted legitimacy to this scammer, therefore helping them reach a wider audience to perpetuate their fraudulent activities. And it wasn't just this creator Mama Tot. A creator named Abby with over 6.1 million followers, creator Facing the Dark, Danielle's Advocacy with over 300,000 followers, somebody named Kimberly Wounds to Wisdom with over 700,000 followers, one named Jen with over 100,000 followers, somebody named Brittany with over 100,000 followers. One Reddit post saying Ophelia's declaration of being on Team Elizabeth and acting like she knew all of the information just shows you that she doesn't do any kind of true research, and this is all for her views and money. Ophelia, being Mama Tot, commenting on the ex-husband's post saying, "I know you're kind, sir, Team Elizabeth. She clearly helps raise those kids. Your entire account is geared toward attacking her. Hers is the opposite. I've been hurt by a man just like you." To which Andrew says, "She left my daughter when they were 10 months old and 2 years old. Facts. You really want to believe her, go ahead. She lies a lot." One user saying, "Mama Tot doesn't know any more than we do." And now it appears that Elizabeth is alleged to be using her newfound legitimacy to attract more people to be deceived and harmed. And that's happening right now, so spread this video to get the word out. I'd like to believe that most of these creators may be motivated by a genuine desire to support those who have been hurt, prioritizing empathy over verification. So I want to make this really clear. Endorsing a known scammer, even unknowingly, due to lack of research and a focus on a specific compelling narrative, can lead to significant harm. One more time. Endorsing a known scammer due to lack of research and focus on a compelling narrative can lead to significant harm, including the spread of misinformation, damage to a creator's credibility, rightfully so, empowerment of the scammer, and potential victimization of followers, which we're now seeing. Now, I went really in depth in this video. Massive amounts of research. And it is my opinion that neither Elizabeth or Andrew is to be trusted. And also these TikTok creators, I hope that they learn to further verify these types of things, because the damage that it's causing it really shouldn't be happening right now. And I hope they all make some sort of statement. Now, it's very obvious to me that Elizabeth has been through a lot, and I have compassion for that. However, even though I have compassion for that, someone's mental health and mental struggles does not give them a free pass to hurt other people. That being said, and as interesting as this is, there's always something that's more interesting to me. That's right, you guessed it. I want to know what you think. So why don't you go ahead and leave your creative and or interesting responses in the comment box below. Thumbs up, folks, likes as always, brothers and sisters. I will see you in the next video. I would like to thank my patrons for your continued and ongoing support. If you too want to get your name at the end of my videos and help me call out twisted situations and bad people, the link will be in the pinned comment. Also, thank you to anybody who's donated on this year's fundraiser. I really appreciate it. And that's just another way to show that you're repping it. How you do that? You just subscribe, notifications turn on, be in the comment section of every single video, because I'm going to be there. always to support you, and I expect to see you guys there too, because this channel loves you.